Hi, I'm Dempsey Palat, and this week I'm reviewing... Now, before we start off, as always, I just want to take a quick second to remind you guys to make sure you hit that like button if you like today's video, and if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well for more new movie-related content weekly. But, without further ado, let's jump into today's film. Bill and Ted Face the Music was directed by Dean Pariso, and sees Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves return as the two titular oddball musicians from the original two films. This time around, though, they're tasked with writing a song that will literally save the world. Now, I want to preface this review by saying that I actually love the original two films a lot. So the fact that they were able to come back after all these years with the original cast, and I'm not just talking about Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, there's a bunch of other characters and actors that returned to this film that I honestly wasn't even expecting to see. And not only them, the original writers are back, Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon. The fact that they were able to come back and create a very cohesive story that feels so true to the originals. I mean, this film is so fitting and a really welcome entry to the franchise, and that's why I honestly really liked it. Seeing Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves return, though, is especially a treat just because they honestly pick up right where we last left them. It's like visiting an old friend where, like, nothing has changed. And it's incredible to see how they're able to just go back into these roles like nothing. Especially Keanu Reeves, because now he's like a huge household name. He does a lot more grittier films, so watching him scale it back and do a little bit more comedy for a change, that was honestly my best part, because he honestly delivers some of the film's funnier lines and moments. Alex Winter too, many people don't know that he's kind of a little bit more behind the camera now, but you can tell that he's absolutely excited to be in front of it again. Just the two of them in general, you can tell that they're just happy to be here and telling the story, continuing telling the journey of these two oddballs, as I called them before. And here, I would say that they're even more over the top than they were in the original two films, because they have a lot more pressure. This time around, they're role models, they're dads. And their daughters, played by the incredibly talented Samara Weaving and Bridget Lundy-Paine, are welcome additions to the cast too, because they are carbon copies of the original two characters. The only major difference is that they actually know what they're talking about when it comes to music. They actually end up going back in time like their dads to recruit new bandmates to help play the song, and all of their scenes are great. They are arguably the best part about this film. I mean, they were my favorite part anyway. And I did see a lot of people showing a lot of love to Anthony Carrigan's character. He plays a robot named Dennis. I hate the fact that I have to refer to him as Dennis. It's like this whole thing in the movie. But the reason why I kind of got annoyed with his character a bit was because he kind of became like this whole thing. His character feels really shoehorned in, especially in the third act. And that's saying a lot, considering this is a film and a franchise where the possibilities are endless. I also kind of felt a little bit annoyed by Kid Cudi's character. He plays himself. Not saying that I don't like Kid Cudi, but for the most part, he feels like a fill-in for Station, who, if you don't know or you don't remember him from the original second film, Bogus Journey, he's like the world's or the galaxy's smartest scientist. He's this alien, and he can shapeshift into two smaller aliens like this. It's fantastic. And I was honestly wondering what happened to his character. We never get any explanation, but they do say his name in the film. And I saw the film twice, yes. That's how much I like this film, okay? And yeah, each time, nothing. I mean, as much as I think it would have been better just to have him in some capacity, I understand that it might have also been a little bit repetitive. But Kid Cudi, nevertheless, he's like a fill-in. He's a genius in the film. I'm not saying that he's not a genius outside the film. I do think he's a genius in some regard, but he basically has all the answers to everything scientific. Pretty much, he just becomes a tool for exposition. And that's why I didn't really like his character. I feel like, and this goes hand in hand with another issue I had with the film, that it does rely a lot more on science than the previous two films. And whenever you don't know what's happening, Kid Cudi just conveniently has an answer. Even until the very end, all throughout the third act, they continue to try and explain things to you. And it took me out of the film quite a bit. And not just because some of the concepts and ideas that they talk about are a little bit confusing, but because I've always found these films and this franchise to do such a great job at appealing to your heart. But for some reason, it feels like the writers felt the need to also have this film appeal to your brain. And it just doesn't work. For the most part, this film is just a giant mesh of the first two, but in the best way possible. And while the franchise does pay quite a bit of homage to itself, it does so in a way that feels a lot more celebratory than vain, which is really cool. Another really cool thing that I liked about this film was the way in which the music has kind of become refined. The Wild Stallions, while they got big because of rock and roll, they no longer really rely on rock and roll. And the film doesn't rely on rock and roll either. The entire soundtrack, through the entirety of the film, we hear all these different musicians and sounds, even their daughters that go on this journey through time. They're not looking for rock stars. They're looking for the most influential people in music, period. And as a result, the song that we hear that's supposed to unite the world, with all these different sounds and all these different elements, it's truly beautiful. It's very colorful. And even though it has no lyrics, minor spoiler alert I guess, I still think that it absolutely has the potential to inspire. I mean, it left me feeling like I was walking on air, and I hope it has the same feeling on anyone else who sees this film too. You know, I haven't even had a chance to talk about Dean Pariso's direction, and for those of you guys who don't know Dean Pariso, I mean, he's the guy who did Galaxy Quest, which so many people are finally starting to appreciate, like, right now, but that's neither here nor there. It's a great movie. You should definitely check it out if you haven't. But he does such a good job at crafting this really adventuristic atmosphere, and as a result, the film is never dull. Like, I can honestly say that from beginning to end, there is not a dull moment in this film. Yes, it's not perfect, but I can never say that I was not entertained. He definitely has a knack for keeping you in this film and on this adventure with Bill and Ted. Overall, Bill and Ted Face the Music is a very welcome sequel that manages to capture the magic, humor, and randomness of the originals, almost as if no time has passed at all. I know this sounds crazy, but I'd actually compare this film to Bad Boys for Life. Not just in the way that it's a long-awaited third entry to a very popular franchise that just so happened to come out this year, but in the way that, over time, this story and these characters have only gotten better. And for that, I'm going to give this film 4 stars. Excellent! Guys, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to view this video. It really does mean the world to me. And once again, if you like this video, please make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well for more new movie-related content weekly. Now, if you happen to see this movie, if you loved it, if you hated it, let me know what you thought about it down below in the comment section. I look forward to reading and responding to all of your comments. But that's pretty much all the time that I have for you guys today. I am currently working on a bunch of other projects that I look forward to sharing with you shortly. But until then, I should probably get back to work. Until next time, I'm Dempsey Plod. Take care.